Well, there I am, Stephen, a college student from the United Kingdom. And for the past year, I have been going to this particular college, which I originally thought was an amazing opportunity, a fresh new start, a blank new canvas, the perfect opportunity to show off my potential. However, my brothers, that is just a fantasy. The story I am about to tell you is a long tale of hardship and complete sadness. I highly doubt you'll even get through this without bawling your eyes out. But without further ado, fellas, it is time for me to tell this great tale of my experiences at this college. For our final major project in the college, we were made aware that we would be given total creative freedom to construct whatever we wanted, which gave me the impression I was free to create whatever I wanted to make. I thought if there was ever a time to showcase to my college teachers that I can make something decent, this was a splendid opportunity to do so. My idea for my final project was to create a thriller movie, which would involve a murder and a lot of drama. Now, I didn't actually start writing the script until much later due to two issues. The first being that it's hard to just come up with full planned out movie scripts on the spot. I had a hard time deciding on what my characters would say. It was going to begin with some sort of Clockwork Orange style opening monologue, which I was finding very difficult to come up with. And as for the other issue, college's safeguarding team. Every computer within the college is rigged with spyware that the safeguarding team uses to stalk your every movement. Anything you type will be seen, and due to an unfortunate incident last October, where I got flagged by their system because I was discussing my horror film with someone for a previous project, I was too worried to even begin the script, all because I was too worried that safeguarding could and would take something I wrote completely out of context and nag me about it, so that was cool. One random April day, I was working on some of my assignments in which I was discussing what my movie was about, what pieces of media inspired me to make it. It was fine, but I had issues with several different assignments. One of these was a budget plan where I'd have to mention the cost of everything I planned to make the film with. Issue was that the only thing I was planning to use was my phone to record the film with, and that wouldn't make a very long Word document. Then my teacher suggested that I can add the cost of lighting. Now, I'm not against lighting in movies. There are many instances where lighting has made certain movies all the better, but for my film, I wanted to stick with simple natural lighting, as it would be cheaper, easier, and make the film look a lot more realistic. So I simply let the teacher know that I wasn't going to use lighting in my film. Unfortunately, my teacher didn't take it well and began insisting that I use lighting. This eventually led to a back and forth argument that lasted around 20 minutes. I was simply explaining to my teacher that I would personally prefer to use natural lighting in my movie, and that since I'm supposed to be the one with the creative freedom, I should be allowed to do exactly that. My teacher, on the other hand, kept assuming that I was refusing to use lighting purely out of stubbornness. That or I can't be asked, which really pissed me off, especially when he called me out later that day, saying that I can't be rude to staff members. I spoke to the teacher the next lesson I had with him about that incident, and he told me that when he was saying that I was being rude, he was actually referring to an incident all the way back in January, where I said a couple things and the college staff completely twisted my words to make it sound like I was being rude. They said that I was going around saying that the teachers didn't know anything. Obviously they know what they're doing. Why else would they be in college? What I was actually talking about was during the assignment in which we were creating a video game, where I only had a few days to create a full game and didn't even know how to use the software. So I'd ask the teachers, and they would straight up tell me they weren't sure how to use it. I seem to recall someone saying the due date for this final project was May 30th. Perhaps I'm just crazy, I don't know, but I'm sure I saw it on Teams somewhere. But anyways, the due date ends up being revealed to be the 20th, which was rather infuriating, but it's whatever. But the good news is, I finally figured out how to make writing the script easier. I decided to make the movie about a college student working on his final project, where he ends up killing his actors on recording. It's just an idea for a movie. However, the teachers at my college once again took something I wrote completely out of context, claiming that the main character in the movie is supposed to in some way resemble me. The guy in my movie is a straight-up murderer. I'm just a bloke in college trying to make it to the end of the year. This caused a brief heated discussion between one of my teachers, but that's basically it. A few days later, the due date was changed to the 19th for some unknown reason. No big deal, I guess. But then, one of my teachers told me something that was totally awesome to hear 12 days before the due date. And that's that I can't be violent. Wow. Sorry for trying to display violence in my fucking murder movie. Also, why tell me this now? We started this in March. I had finally started writing my script just for the college to pull a complete 180 and decide that the movie that they approved of before was all of a sudden unacceptable. Even Safeguarding said it was alright when I told them about the movie I was making. I've basically come to the conclusion that this college straight up punishes creativity. If you don't do something the way they want you to do it, you aren't passing. So lads, after all of that, it was all for nothing. This is the world we live in, fellas. Silence of the Lambs? Hell no, there's a murder in that. That's completely inappropriate. 1 out of 10. You know, I wasn't too focused on work during the first month of college as I was settling in and making new friends. I sometimes feel as if during that period, my teachers just immediately assumed I was lazy and completely gave up on me from that point onwards. I mean, I sort of came to an assumption about how much this college cares about you when I messaged one of my teachers about a certain situation where he had marked me as an unauthorized absence for a lesson that I was actually there for, and he just straight up left me on red. Well anyways, my long rambling session has come to its conclusion. This has been Steven, and I'm out of here. Good night, everybody. Minecraft.
Got you, kid!
Whoa!
Hey! Nah.
No.
You gotta be kidding me, Marlene. This is the guy?
Too late, Clemente. You had your chance.
She's right, Clemente. Last night,
This was a really good idea.
Would you marry me?
Yes! Yes! 1,000 times yes!
Oh dear God, I appear to have made a mistake.
Yeah! Minecraft!